So what is A2P 10DLC, but more importantly, how are people abusing new legislation in order to directly and intentionally sue agency owners? This is something so small and so stupid that you can overlook it in a second, and I have a story about this, and you can literally get yourself sued or your client sued for tens and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding. Whether you run an agency on high level or if you really run any business where you use SMS marketing, or even if you're planning on running one, this is extremely important. And I'm also going to tell you what you can do to protect yourself. So in one of the coaching programs I'm a part of, one of the guys that's also in there was telling the story. So he runs a Facebook group funnel. So he builds a Facebook group, gets people in the Facebook group. When people apply to join the Facebook group, they have to enter their name, email, phone number. He'll add them to his CRM, and then he'll start up some text automations. So these text automations that he sends are they're pretty harmless, pretty friendly text messages. The first one's like, hey, welcome to the group. Thanks for joining in. I just wanted to make sure you got in okay. And then he'll send a couple ones shortly thereafter, I think same day, next day kind of thing. Nothing ridiculous, nothing too spammy, nothing over the top. But on July 5th of this year, 2023, there's new legislation that was added. So there's a guy going around joining people's groups, signing up to people's ads and stuff, and then directly suing business owners for infractions on text messages. And the idea here is each infraction where you're breaking this new legislation is a $500 penalty. So what this guy's essentially doing is going in and saying, oh, well, you did this to me, you must have done it to 100 other people, boom, 50 grand, right? And then working up his case, oh, I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that, and you caused me problems and bothered me. Just being a complete scumbag, pretty much. And so the guy running the Facebook group funnel ended up getting sued by a guy doing exactly this for 50 grand. Now, he's fighting this now. He's hired a lawyer, he's thousands of dollars deep and ridiculous headaches in. And so everything that I'm talking about here, this is no joke. People are getting targeted right now. And if you're not abiding by the rules, you could be next. So now before diving into how you can protect yourself, first we need to understand what A2P 10DLC even is. So A2P is application to person, and 10DLC is 10-digit long code. It's basically talking about sending text messages from a Twilio or a high-level phone number to a 10-digit long phone number. Now, there has been some ridiculousness going on with SMS marketing, and one time I coded a cold SMS bot to get leads from my agency, and I was getting it was costing me $10 a day. I was getting 20 leads a day. It was hilarious. But now there's regulation surrounding this stuff, just like there is email regulation like canned spam and all this kind of stuff. So now this is set in stone for text messages to reduce SMS spam, essentially. So it's important to note that there are two key things that this legislation requires you to do. And the first thing I'll do is explain to you this real life story that I was telling you about earlier and what he did wrong. This will help you understand how much of a scumbag the guy who sued him really is. But basically what he failed to do in the first text message was provide the option to opt out from the SMS sequence. That is getting him sued for 50 grand right now. So what does this new legislation require you to do? Well, the first thing is just that, allow people the ability to opt out. And not only do that, it goes a little bit further, so I'll get to that in a second. But the second thing is that you need express opt-in consent. And you know what? There's actually another story that happened from another guy I know. So I was talking to a guy, one of his buddies runs a real estate marketing agency, and his whole thing was doing cold texting for his clients to generate leads. And I don't remember exactly what the case was, but he was getting cracked down on by the FCC. I don't remember what it was, but he got fined a very serious amount, or one of his clients got fined a very serious amount of money because they were spam texting. So what's the fix, and how do you protect yourself as well as all of your clients? Because if you're doing this wrong for a bunch of your clients, things can get real ugly real quick for you, and you can basically just get sued into the floor. It's actually quite simple. There are only a couple things that you need to do here. The first one is, again, you need express consent for somebody opting in. So on whatever your opt-in form is, you need to write something like what High Level did is they introduced a little checkbox on their landing page forms that people have to click in order to say, yes, I agree to receiving communications. And that's just High Level really protecting themselves. What I personally do, I don't like know the law to an extreme degree, so do your own research. But on my forms, I put a little message that says, by submitting this form, you hereby agree to receive SMS and email communications from us. You can always unsubscribe, basically. So that's step one. And you can also prove that this has been on your page by registering with the Wayback Machine. If you're familiar, you can just Google Wayback Machine. Another thing you can do is save certain version updates of your funnel in high level, so that you have exact dates and so on and so forth that these things have been implemented and there. Now, the second thing that you can do is in your text message sequences, in the very first message, it's very important, it has to be in the very first message, and there's more, but in the very first message, at the bottom of the message, you need to type something along the lines of reply stop to opt out, with stop being in all caps. Stop to unsubscribe, opt out, stop receiving these text messages, whatever it is. I personally just write reply stop to, I think, unsubscribe, and then in brackets I write, sorry, I legally have to do this now, LOL. But then from there on out, every few messages or so, and again, do your own research on this stuff. Don't just fully rely on me for this. I'm no expert on this subject by any means. I'm not certified as literally anything. But depending on the length of your SMS sequence, every once in a while, it's healthy to drop in, hey, by the way, you can reply stop to always unsubscribe if you don't want to receive these messages. Now, there's another thing that you need to do, which is you need to register your 10-digit long numbers to a business. So that way it can be identified, and if you're spamming, so that they can find you directly and immediately. High Level uses a service called Twilio. I work with Twilio directly. I understand there's a way to do it all through High Level. I don't know, I guess I'm kind of old school with it. But in your High Level business settings, you need to fill out all the information. Address, contact person, email, like everything that's there. And it should be in the agency view. But again, I don't use that, so just look into that a little bit further. But if you use it directly with High Level, you're gonna have to fill all that stuff out. Otherwise, what happens if you don't fill that stuff out? Again, I did it personally with Twilio. I registered my business, so all my clients' numbers are under my business. But if you don't do this, then what happens is the phone numbers that you're using through High Level through Twilio will start failing to send text messages, and then eventually they're just not gonna be delivered at all. So basically, for a temporary period of time, your deliverability is going to suck, and then eventually nothing is going to be able to send if you don't register your phone numbers. So you need to register your phone numbers. So like I said in the beginning, that's how you can protect yourself. Again, do your due diligence, do your research, but seriously look out for this stuff, and hopefully I helped.